Good morning once again. So, women change the world. Okay, so we are reading that chapter, and previous day we learned little bit about the percentage of women's and one story. 27 years old Lakshmi Lakra, who became the first Indian driver for Northern Railway, first woman. Okay, and we'll little bit learn about JBR's result, and their father is common stereotypes related to their subject wise, you can say the maths test. Okay, it's a common one. And that name of the girl, last day I think I explained it's a Deepa Malik, or no, it's a Priya Malik. In 73 kg category he won the gold medal. Okay, so little bit mistake is there, that is not Priya Malik. That is Priya Malik, not Deepa Malik. That is Priya Malik. Okay, finally. Okay. So now, today we learned about the condition of the women also. Okay, and how the sub characters, you can say, uh, some woman can change their world. Yeah, they can started a movement, and they changed the whole, a simple, we can say, the world of that time woman, because women are not a very freedom about their expressions, their education, and many more. So we learn about that. That's okay, that one also. So yeah, we start from here. Learning for change. Okay, going to school is an extremely important part of our life. As more and more children enter school every year, we begin to think that it is normal for all children to go to school. Today it is difficult for us to imagine that school and learning could be seen as out of bounds or not appropriate for some children, but in the past the skills of the reading and writing was known to be only a few. Okay, most children learn the work their family, so you can familiar for that line. Okay, why? Because we all know about, it's our duty. Yeah, it's our life up, it's our part of our life. We are join a school and we learn something. We can complete our degree. Okay, then we can ready for our next, yeah, you can say, job opportunities, for our job opportunities. So but that time only few students are there who get the good education. Okay, most children learn the work their families or elders did. For girls the situation rose, okay, worse. In communities that taught some sons to read and write, daughters were not allowed to learn the alphabet too. Okay, now even in family where skills like pottery, weaving, and craft were taught, the contribution of daughters and women was only seen as supportive, not a creative. Okay. For example, in the pottery trade, women collect the mud and prepared the earth for the pots, but since they did not operate the wheel, they were not seen as the potters. Okay. Potter means simply kumhar. Kumhar means male person. But what is the role of women there? They are only, they prepare for mud to ready to for the chalk. Yeah, you can say, for the wheel. Okay, but they not create them anything. In the 19th century, many new ideas about the education and learning emerged. Schools became the more common, and communities that had never learned reading and writing started sending their children to school. But there was a lot of options to educating girls even then. Yet many women and men made efforts to open school for girls. Women struggled to learn to read and write. Such type of the woman, we can say, Pandita Ramabai. Okay, you can see. I will show you in later also. Ramabai, shown above with her daughter, combined the cause of the women education. She never went to school but learned to read and write from her parents. She was given the title Pandita because of the could read. She could read and write Sanskrit, a remarkable achievements as women then were not allowed the knowledge. She went on to the set up the mission in the Khedagaon near the Pune. Okay, I think it's a Khedagaon. Yes, in 1898, where widows and poor women were encouraged not only to become a literate but to be independent. They were taught a variety. Okay, sorry, variety of skills, and poor women were encouraged not only to become the literate but to independent too. They were taught a variety of skills from the carpentry to running a printing press, skills that are not usually taught to girls even today. The printing press can be seen in the pictures on the top left corner. Ramabai's mission is still active today. Okay, here is the picture of, yeah, that is the picture of whose Pandita Ramabai's printing press. Okay, now it is also male occupy. Yeah, you can see the mostly male are there, they're working there. Okay, now one more is Rukia Shokat Hussain and her dreams about the Ladyland. Okay, so I will show you some more pictures later. That one, it's a little bit, yeah, uh, in Olympic. I forget that name also, but not qualify in last. Okay, so we learn about the Raj Sundari Devi, Amar Jeevan, famous book, Begum Rokaiya Hussain. Okay, she is there. Mother Teresa also. Okay, very famous personality, Mother Teresa. Okay, so now we learn what we learned about. Yeah, that one. Okay, so little bit I forget. Wait. Wait. Okay. Yes. So where we are? We are here. Okay. Let us read about the experience of the Raj Sundari Devi, 800 to 1890, who was born in the West Bengal some 200 years ago. At the age of 60, she wrote her autobiography in Bangla. At the age of 60, which is 60 when she was on at 60. Okay, she wrote a book that name is Amar Jeevan. What is the name of Amar Jeevan? Jeevan means Amar means our, Jeevan means Jeevan. Okay, life. Our, simply we can say our life. It is the first known autobiography written by an Indian woman. Strange one. Okay, it was the first autobiography written by himself and by own story. Okay, Rajsundari Devi was a housewife from the rich landlord family. At that time, it was believed that if a woman learned to read and write, she would bring bad luck to her husband and became a widow. Despite this, she taught nearly how to read and write in secret well after her marriage. So you can say she started, okay, she started how to read and write. Yes, little bit of problem there. So Raj Sundari Devi related to the rich landlord family, and she started his career, you can say, as a writer in age of 60. And I would start working at dawn, and I would still be at in the until well beyond midnight. I had no rest in between. I was only 14 years old at that time. 14. Okay. I came to nature a great logging. I would learn to read and I would read a religious manuscripts. I was unlucky. In those days, women are not educated. Later, I began to resent my own thoughts. What is the wrong with me? Women do not read. How will I do it? Then I had a dream. I was reading the manuscripts of the Chaitanya Bhagavad, the life of a saint, that is very famous Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also known. Okay, Chaitanya Bhagavad. Later in days, as I sat cooking in the kitchen, I heard my husband say to my eldest son, Bipin, I have left my Chaitanya Bhagat here. So when I asked for it, bring it in, he left the book there and went away. When the book had been taken inside, I secretly took out a page and hid it carefully. It was a job hiding it, for the nobody must find in my hands. My eldest son was practicing his alphabet at that time. I hid one of them as well. At times I went over there trying to match letters from that page with the letters that I remembered. I also tried to match the words with those that I would hear in the course of my days with the tremendous care and efforts, and over a long period of time I learned how to read. So how you can imagine such type of the incident happened, and a lady, a housewife, okay, and secretly she learned something about for a book, and in the age of I think that time, okay, and how they can describe for their own pain, for that she cannot uh, learn, yeah, she cannot identify anything, and how they can said, I had a dream, I was reading the manuscripts, okay. So after learning the alphabet, Rasundari Devi was able to read the Chaitanya Bhagavat, that is a Bhagavat, yeah. Through her own writing, she also gave the world an opportunities to read about the women's life. Those days, Rasundari Devi wrote about her everyday life experience in the details. These were days when she did not have a moment, rest, no time even to sit down and eat. So busy life also there. Schooling and education today. Unlike Rasundari Devi and Rokia Hussain, who was not allowed to learn to read and write, large number of girls attend school in India today. Despite this, there continue to be many girls who have school for reasons for the poverty. Who many girls who leave the school for the reasons of the poverty, inadequate schooling facility, and discrimination. Also, providing equal schooling facility to children from all communities and class backgrounds, and particularly girls, continues to be the challenge in India. It's also a very big challenge. Okay, if we talk about the census, 64% women are only educated. Okay, when we talk about 49% total, uh, total in after the 100, you can say, if you have a 100%, 100%, yeah, 100 person in a country, 49% are women, and in after the 49%, 49th of women, we have only 64% are only educating. So you can see what is the condition of nowadays also in our country. Okay, so now schooling and education today. Today, both boys and girls attend school in the large numbers. Yes, as we will see, there still remain difference between the education of boys and girls. India has a census every 10 years, which contains the whole people, yeah, whole population of the country. It also gathers detailed information about the people living in India, their age, schooling, and the work they do, and so on. We use the information to measure many things like number of the literate people and the ratio of men and women. According to 1961, that is the old one. Okay, census about 40% of the all boys and men's 7 years and above were literate. That is they could last write their name. So we have a old data that one, but 64, yeah, same thing. So what I mentioned earlier, so it will be census of 2011. These figures have grown to 82% of the boys and men and 65% of the girls and women. These means the proportion of both men and women who are now able to read and have at least some amount of schooling has increased. Okay, so we have one data also here. Average annual dropout rate in the schooling education 2014. It is also a little bit older, but we learn it. Okay, so primary level 1 to 5, you can say all boys girls total. Okay, so but if you think about only that one, so you can imagine what is the ratio. Secondary level also Okay, and 9 to 10 also 24.68, 24.40 here is girls, boys also including there. So we can say many more are not aware for the what is the quality of education. Yeah, you can say the quality of education, they are not found their own site. Okay, so that's why you have properly noticed in the above the table that SC and ST girls leave school at the rate in the higher than the category all girls. This means that girls who are from Dalit and Adivasi background are less likely to remain in the school. The 2011 census also found that Muslim girls are less likely than the SC and ST girls. So complete primary schooling, while a Muslim girl is likely to stay at school for around 3 years. Girls from the other communities spend around 4 years in school. It's a, I am not said, it's a data set. Okay, so it's a very poor condition for the Muslim girl side. There are several reasons why children from Dalit, Adivasi, and Muslim communities leave school. In many parts of the country, especially in the rural and poor areas, there may not even be proper schools, not teachers who teach on the regular basis. If a school is not close to people's home and there is no transport like buses or vans, parents may not be willing to send their girls to school. Many families are too poor and unable to bear the cost of education all their children. Boys may get preference in this situation. Many children also leave school because they are rather discriminated against by their teachers and classmates, just like Om Prakash Valmiki was. In the last chapter, we taught about that one. Yeah, we learn about the Juthan, who wrote Juthan Valmiki. Okay, now women movement. So find out the Beti Bachao Beti Padhao Andolan campaign. Okay, launched in 2014. That is also the questions which here launched the Beti Bachao Beti Padhao Andolan. Yeah, movement we can say. So you can clearly here see what is the ratio of boys and girls, the percentage of boys and girls. Now women and girls now have the right to study and go to school. There are other spheres like the legal reforms, violence and health, where the situation of women and girls are improved. Okay, some more we can see some common stereotype, yeah, such type of the unsocial behavior also responsible for that one. So we can learn about that one. Many men support the women's movement as well. The diversity, passions, and efforts of those individuals making the very vibrant movement. Different strategies have been to spread awareness, fight discrimination, and seek justice. Here are some glimpses of this struggle. So you can see, you can easily understand that one. Campaigning for the rising awareness, postering, okay, showing solidarity. So they are okay. Campaigning means campaigning to fight discrimination and violence against women are on the important part of the women's movement. Campaigns have also led to the new laws begin to pass. The new was made by which year 2006 to give women who face physical and mental violence within their homes, also called the domestic violence, some legal protection also. Okay, domestic violence also banned nowadays. Similarly, efforts made by the women's movement lead the Supreme Court of the formulation guideline 1997 to protect women against the sexual harassment. Okay, at the workplace and within the educational institutions. Okay, so it is a very broad subject, we don't discuss about in this time. In the 1980s, for example, women's groups across the country spoke out against the dowry deaths, case of the young brides being the murdered by their in-laws or husbands greedy for more dowry. Women's groups spoke out against the failure of bringing these cases to justice. They did so by the coming onto the streets, approach the courts, and by the sharing information. Eventually, this became a public issue in the newspapers and society, and the dowry laws were changed to punish families who seek dowry. Okay, that is called Dowry Protection Act. Okay, so you can see uh, Satyanarayana, an active member of the women's movement, sitting in the steps of the Supreme Court, surrounded by legal files gathered during the course of a long legal battle to seek justice for the daughter who was murdered for dowry. So, Satyanarayana, okay, very famous activist and raising awareness. An important part of the women's movement work in the raise people's awareness, public awareness on the women's right issue. Their message has been spread through the street play, songs and public meetings also. You can see here is the play, they are doing play, and hospital you can write there. You can see protesting also. So processions also there. The women's movement raise its voice when violations against the women take place on, for example, when a law, policy and against their interests. Public rallies and demonstrations were very powerful way of the drawing attention to injustice. Showing solidarity. Solidarity means you can say togetherness, equality. Yeah, they are all are together with for a particular issue. The women's movement is also about showing solidarity with the other women and cause. On 8th March, International Women's Day. Every 8th March, every year we celebrate 8th March International Women's Day. Women all of the over world longer are together to celebrate and renew their struggle. Okay, so it's our chapter. I hope you enjoy that one. Thank you.